What if I told you that the most dangerous moment of your day isn't driving on a busy highway or climbing a flight of stairs? For anyone over 60, the single most dangerous hour of your entire day is the one that begins the moment you open your eyes in the morning. This isn't an exaggeration. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association is sending shockwaves through the medical community, revealing that a staggering 60% of ischemic strokes in older adults occur between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. Let that sink in. Your risk of a life-altering brain event doesn't just double. It skyrockets during the very moments you feel the safest right inside your own home. Why? Because while you were asleep, your body was silently setting the stage for what doctors are now calling the perfect physiological storm. Your blood has thickened. Your blood pressure is gearing up for the morning surge. And a cocktail of stress hormones is flooding your system. It's a silent countdown happening inside your own body. In this video, I am going to reveal the 5 seemingly harmless habits you have upon waking, things you probably did this very morning, that act like a lit match thrown into this highly flammable situation. But before we dive in, let us know where you're watching from. We want to see how far this message is spreading. And if you have any questions for us, please leave them in the comments below. We will respond to every single one. Now let's get started. To your health. First, let's get into the most commonly dismissed and overlooked early warnings of a stroke. The very first warning sign your brain sends is not a tightening pain in your chest or a sudden dizzy spell. It is much more subtle. It is an unexpected change in your coordination. Perhaps this morning your hand missed your toothbrush by just a few millimeters, or maybe you spilled a little tea while bringing it to your mouth, an action you have performed thousands of times. It could be that your fingers suddenly felt clumsy and would not follow your commands as you tried to button your shirt. You might dismiss it as a sign of getting older, but that is a dangerous mistake. This is not about aging. These are neurological symptoms, tiny signals that the blood flow to a part of your brain may be getting disrupted. Consider the actual case of John, a 74-year-old man from Ohio, who initially just noticed himself dropping his keys more frequently and having difficulty with his shirt buttons. One morning, he suddenly forgot how to write the simple word, milk. Doctors later confirmed he had experienced a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, commonly called a warning stroke. This is where the urgency becomes extreme. A landmark study in the prestigious medical journal, the Lancet Neurology, identified the first 48 hours after a TIA as the highest risk period for a severe, full-scale stroke to occur. But this study also provides a powerful ray of hope. If you receive treatment within this critical timeframe, your risk of a major stroke is reduced by more than 80%, and there are absolutely preventative methods to limit the most dangerous risks. Your body is issuing a warning. The question is, are you listening? So, why exactly is the morning the most dangerous time? Before you are even consciously aware of the world around you, your brain is already in a state of high alert. For anyone over 60, the first hour after waking is not a time of peace. It is when your body is at its most physiologically vulnerable. This is not a subjective feeling, but a cold, biological reality, driven by a perfect storm of 3 factors unfolding inside your veins. First is dehydration. After a long night of 7 to 8 hours without any fluid intake, your body is in a state of dehydration. This does more than just make you thirsty. It physically alters the composition of your blood, making it significantly thicker and more viscous. Studies published in the European Journal of Neurology have shown that blood viscosity increases substantially in the morning, raising the risk of clot formation. Imagine trying to pump honey through a straw instead of water. Your heart and blood vessels face a similar challenge. Second, as you wake up, your adrenal glands release a massive surge of cortisol, a phenomenon medically known as the cortisol awakening response. Experts from the Endocrine Society confirm that its purpose is to jolt your system awake, but its side effect, especially in older adults, is to constrict blood vessels throughout the body. Your pipes are suddenly narrowing. Third, in parallel with the cortisol surge comes a spike in blood pressure. This phenomenon, called the morning blood pressure surge, is extremely common. An in-depth study in the American Heart Association's journal, Hypertension, found that this increase can be as much as 20 to 30 points within just 30 minutes of waking in some individuals. Now, let's put it all together. You have thick, sludgy blood trying to move through suddenly narrowed vessels under a skyrocketing pressure. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, warns that this combination is the perfect recipe for disaster, creating the ideal environment for a blood clot to form or for an existing plaque to rupture, blocking blood flow to your brain. Now, I am going to reveal the 5 morning habits that increase your stroke risk. If you recognize any of these habits in your own routine, my advice is to eliminate it immediately. Habit 1. Skipping water. The very first and most dangerous habit begins the moment you wake up. Skipping water in favor of coffee. For millions of people over 60, the first act of the day is to reach for a hot cup of coffee. This seemingly harmless action is you pouring gasoline on a smoldering physiological fire. Remember, after a long night, your blood is already naturally thicker. By drinking coffee, which is a diuretic that makes your body lose even more water, instead of rehydrating, you are making your blood even more viscous. Thick blood moves slower through your veins and arteries, creating the ideal conditions for deadly blood clots to form and putting unnecessary pressure on your heart and brain. This is not guesswork. A decisive study published in the European Journal of Neurology analyzed thousands of cases and found an alarming truth. Morning dehydration was a direct contributing factor in 48% of first-time ischemic strokes in older adults. That means nearly half of these strokes could have been prevented by one simple action. The solution could not be simpler. Before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you think about breakfast, and certainly before you brew your coffee, drink a full glass of room temperature or warm water. This simple act helps to thin your blood instantly, kickstarts your metabolism, and significantly reduces the burden on your cardiovascular system. Habit 2. Sitting in bed for too long after waking up. The second habit begins in the comfort of your own bed, lingering for too long after you wake up. You open your eyes, but instead of getting up, you prop yourself against the pillows and scroll through your phone for 20 or even 30 minutes. This might feel like a gentle start to the day, but it is actually a circulatory trap. After the age of 60, your blood vessels are not as elastic as they used to be. When you sit motionless, gravity pulls your already thick morning blood down into the lower half of your body, especially your legs. This phenomenon is known as venous stasis. Because your blood vessels are less flexible, they struggle to pump that blood back up to your heart and, most critically, to your brain. This directly reduces cerebral perfusion, starving your brain of oxygen and nutrients at the very moment it needs them most. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society followed adults over 65 and found that remaining sedentary in bed for more than 15 minutes after waking increased the risk of orthostatic hypotension by 40%. Orthostatic hypotension is a sudden drop in blood pressure that can lead to dizziness, falls, and even stroke. As soon as you wake up, do not rush out of bed, but purposefully activate your circulation. While still in bed, take a minute to rotate your ankles and flex your toes. Then sit up slowly and gently, roll your shoulders and neck before you stand up. This simple sequence acts like a pump, pushing that stagnant blood back into your central circulation, ensuring your brain gets the blood supply it needs as you start your day. Habit 3. Skipping breakfast. The third habit is a deadly trap hidden behind a sense of efficiency, considering coffee and your medication to be your breakfast. For many older adults, the morning is simply about taking a pill with a sip of coffee and then starting the day, completely skipping food. But this action is putting your brain in an extremely dangerous situation. Your body, especially after age 60, is highly sensitive to drops in blood sugar, a condition called hypoglycemia. Your brain is your most energy-consuming organ, and it runs almost exclusively on glucose. When you starve it in the morning, your brain cells become stressed and function poorly. A crucial study from the National Institute on Aging revealed that people over 65 who skip breakfast have a 55% higher risk of experiencing minor ischemic events within the first 4 hours of their day. The combination of skipping a meal, taking medication, as many types can affect blood sugar, and the natural morning cortisol surge creates an extremely unstable environment for your brain. I am not suggesting you need to eat a large breakfast. You just need a small protein-rich meal to stabilize your blood sugar. Half a boiled egg, a spoonful of Greek yogurt, or even just a few soaked walnuts. is enough to give your brain the steady fuel it is craving, helping you escape the danger zone. Habit 4. Rushing into stress. The fourth habit is not a physical action. It is something that often happens automatically and is very difficult to be conscious of. It is rushing headfirst into stress. The moment you open your eyes, your phone screen lights up with negative news, urgent work emails, or a debate about the day's schedule. This action works as a biological catalyst, pouring gasoline on the fire that is already burning inside your body in the morning. Remember this, your cortisol and blood pressure levels are already naturally at their peak. By immediately throwing your mind into a state of stress, you are artificially amplifying that surge, placing an extreme and unnecessary burden on your heart and your already vulnerable arteries. A study in the prestigious journal Stroke reached a chilling conclusion. People who experience high psychological stress within the first 3 hours of waking have a significantly higher risk of stroke, especially in the over 60 age group. Essentially, you are pushing yourself into the danger zone. The solution is to create a protective buffer zone. Instead of reaching for your phone, dedicate the first 10 minutes of your day to quiet. Do some gentle stretches, take a short walk out onto the porch, or simply sit quietly and enjoy a cup of tea. This small act allows your body to regulate itself naturally, helping your cortisol and blood pressure to stabilize before you face the demands of the world. Habit 5. Physical inactivity. And the final dangerous habit is physical inactivity. You wake up, move from your bed to the dining table, then to the sofa, spending the first 1 to 2 hours of your day in a state of near complete stillness. This action turns your body into a perfect environment for disaster. Your blood in the morning is already prone to clotting, and the veins in your legs are less efficient at pumping blood back to the heart. When you are inactive, you are allowing your circulatory system to slow down, turning your legs into a stagnation zone where the most dangerous blood clots often begin to form. Do not think that an afternoon walk can compensate for this. The timing of movement is critically important. A groundbreaking study in the leading cardiology journal, Circulation, revealed something astonishing. People who sit for more than 9 hours a day have double the risk of stroke, even if they exercise later in the day. This proves that breaking up long periods of inactivity is non-negotiable. The solution does not require a huge effort. You just need 5 to 10 minutes of gentle movement to reactivate your system. March in place while you wait for your tea to steep, roll your shoulders and stretch your arms, or take a short walk to the mailbox. This simple action will wake up your circulation, disrupt the dangerous environment, and protect your brain. So as you can see, the risk of stroke does not strike out of the blue. It is built silently by the smallest and most ordinary habits you perform every morning. From skipping that glass of water and sitting still in bed to rushing to check the news, each action increases your stroke risk, pushing your body closer to the dangerous edge during its most vulnerable hours. This is where the profound philosophy of Dr. Hinohara, who lived and worked past the age of 100, becomes incredibly meaningful. He believed that sustainable health after 60 does not come from huge, radical changes, but from consistent awareness. It is simply about stopping and questioning your automatic actions every day. The final piece of advice for you today is not to buy a new supplement or a tracking device. It is much simpler. Start listening to what your body is trying to tell you. That clumsy finger, that fleeting feeling of imbalance, these are not signs of old age. They are signals. You have the power to change the trajectory of your health. Have you ever noticed any of these warning signs in your morning? If so, I urge you to adjust those habits. Share your story in the comments below. Your story could be the wake-up call someone else needs to hear. If this video has given you valuable knowledge, share it right now with at least one loved one or friend you care about. Protect your body. See you in the next video.